Happy 66th birthday, Julian.
Tell me about the sugar shortage, Julian.
Okay then, because I've had a few to drink, I'm gonna tell you a reasonably amusing story. Anyway, many years ago, I used to work at Tesco's with my good friend Arthur, who sadly is no longer with us. Anyway, I remember Arthur saying, I remember sort of like looking in the staff manual, and it said that the last thing that the customer are interested in is in your tittle tattle. And Arthur said, that's absolutely not true. So anyway, one day we're on the wines and spirits department, and this was all kind of like pre-planned. Arthur came rushing out onto the aisle, and he said, Julian, he said, can you lend me a tenner? I said, what do you want a tenner for then, Arthur? He said, I've just been talking to my sister who works at Tate & Lyle, he said, and there's going to be a worldwide sugar shortage. I said, oh my God. I said, well, you better go and get me some sugar as well. Anyway, whilst we're there was this woman who was obviously ear rigging, and she thought, oh my God, there's going to be a sugar shortage. So anyway, whilst I'm on the aisle, I give Arthur the tenner and he goes and disappears. Anyway, we watch this woman and she goes right down to the other end of the aisle, and right down the other end of the aisle there's sort of like there's the pallet and all the sugar on, and we just see her there with her trolley, and she absolutely piles loads and loads of sugar onto her trolley and then disappears. And we just sort of like wonder, like when she gets home and everything, her husband says to her, what the hell are you doing with all that sugar? And she goes, there's going to be a sugar shortage. And we reckon it must have taken about 30 years for her to use it all up. Okay then, well, another Tesco story, but this one isn't quite as good as the sugar shortage story. But basically one day, this is when I was working on wine and spirits with Arthur, I was out the back, like putting some stock away, and I was just there, and all of a sudden I heard this like thump, and then sort of like something crumpling to the floor. Anyway, I went out, and there was this bloke like dressed in a suit and everything, and he was like lying on the floor, and he's covered in like these cheeses, these like 14-pound sort of like blocks of cheeses. Anyway, it turned out that he was like a cheese rep, and he was counting the cheeses, and they hadn't been stacked very well, and then fallen over, and one had landed on his head and like knocked him unconscious. Anyway, he was just lying on the floor kind of thing. Anyway, it turned out to be all right. And there was like lots of jokes about sort of like afterwards about sort of like, oh, you know, like cheese gives you sort of like bad dreams and all that kind of thing. Anyway, about a couple of weeks later, we went to the Tesco staff party, which was supposed to be fancy dress. Anyway, I didn't go in fancy dress, and the produce manager, who's called Colin, came up to me. He said, "Hey, June," he said, you haven't sort of like come in fancy dress. And I said, yes, I have. He said, what do you mean? And at this point, I lay on the floor with my eyes closed, and I said, I've come as the cheese rep. Anyway, he thought it was kind of like mildly amusing, but anyway, that was just another like another Tesco story. There's more if you want, anyway, but that's it for now anyway. Cheers.